The monitor beeped faster. Each contraction hit like a wave crashing against a seawall, relentless and unforgiving. I gripped the bed rail until my knuckles turned white, sweat sliding down my temples, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Tyler stood near the door, phone pressed to his ear. His mother's voice bled through the speaker, sharp and dismissive. "She's being dramatic. First-time mothers always exaggerate. Tyler." I could barely get his name out between contractions. "I need you here, now." He held up one finger. One finger, like I was an interruption. "Mom says the epidural will calm you down." The monitor spiked. A nurse rushed in, her eyes scanning the readouts with trained urgency. She adjusted something and murmured reassurances I couldn't absorb. Tyler didn't move. Still on that phone, still choosing her voice over my pain. The doctor entered. Dr. Chen, calm face, sharp eyes. She looked at the monitor, then at Tyler, then at me. Something in her expression hardened. "Sir, I'm going to need you to step outside." Tyler's mouth opened. "But my mother," now. The door closed behind him. I was alone with strangers. The one person who'd promised to stay had just walked out because his mother told him to. And in that moment, through the haze of pain and betrayal, one thought crystallized with perfect clarity. This wasn't the first time he'd chosen her, but it would be the last. My name is Megan. I'm 34 years old. I work as a pediatric occupational therapist, helping children learn to navigate a world that doesn't always make space for them. The irony of that isn't lost on me. I spent 5 years trying to navigate a marriage that never made space for me either. I grew up in a close-knit family. We didn't have much money, but we had dinners together, arguments that ended in hugs, and parents who showed up. I thought I understood what family meant. I thought I'd recognize it when I found it again. I met Tyler in grad school. He was attentive and thoughtful, the kind of man who remembered your coffee order and asked about your day like the answer actually mattered. When he proposed, I said yes without hesitation. I thought I was gaining a second family. His mother, Patricia, was there for everything. The engagement party, the dress shopping. She even had opinions about our honeymoon. At the time, I told myself it was sweet. She was involved because she cared. Tyler was her only son. Of course she wanted to be close. I didn't see it then. The way she positioned herself, the way Tyler's eyes always drifted to her for approval, the way I was being slowly, methodically erased. Everyone told me I was lucky to marry into money, the beautiful house, the financial security, the picture-perfect life. What they didn't see was that I was disappearing inside it, inch by inch, year by year, until there was almost nothing left. The first year of marriage taught me the rules I hadn't known existed. Patricia came for dinner one night early on. I'd made steak, proud of, myself wanting to impress. She took one bite, set down her fork, and smiled at me with something that looked like patience, but felt like pity. "Megan, dear, Tyler prefers his steak medium rare." "You should know that by now." I looked at Tyler, waited for him to say something. He just shrugged. "Mom's trying to help." That became the refrain. Mom's trying to help. Mom means well. Mom just wants what's best. At holiday dinners, she'd rearranged the seating so I ended up at the far end of the table, separated from Tyler by cousins and aunts. When the family Christmas card arrived, my name was misspelled. The next year, the same thing. As if I were so inconsequential that no one bothered to check. I brought it up to Tyler once. The way she spoke to me, the way she positioned herself between us. He looked at me like I'd said something absurd. "You're reading into things. Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I was imagining slights where none existed." I started doubting my own perceptions, my own memories. That's what happens when someone tells you over and over that what you're feeling isn't real. Eventually, you stop trusting yourself. The photo was the detail that stuck with me. Patricia gave Tyler a framed picture for his office, the two of them at his college graduation. Just the two of them. No room in the frame for anyone else. He hung it on his wall without hesitation. I discovered I was pregnant on a Tuesday afternoon. The test sat on the bathroom counter, 2 pink lines staring back at me, and I felt everything at once: joy, terror, hope. I wanted to tell Tyler privately, just us. I planned a quiet dinner at home, Candles on the table, his favorite meal. I imagined the moment, his face when I told him, the way we'd hold each other and let the news sink in, our family, our beginning. I never got the chance. Tyler came home that evening already on his phone. Mom's coming over. She has big news. My stomach dropped. Tonight, but she'll be here in 20 minutes. Patricia arrived with a bottle of champagne and an announcement. She was moving closer. Bought a house 10 minutes away. I want to be available, she said, beaming at Tyler. For when you need me, for the baby. The room went quiet. Tyler's face shifted. Wait, what baby? Patricia's eyes moved to me, narrowed. Then that smile appeared again, the one that never quite reached her eyes. Well, I suppose I'll have even more to do now. The moment I'd imagined was gone, hijacked, stolen before it even began. That night, lying in bed, Tyler turned to me with genuine excitement. Mom's going to be so involved. Isn't that great? I stared at the ceiling and felt something cold settle in my chest. I wasn't carrying our child. I was carrying Patricia's next project. The nursery was the first battlefield. I spent weeks planning it. Soft sage green on the walls. A hand-painted mural of trees, each leaf detailed with care. I wanted it to feel like a forest, peaceful and alive, the kind of room where a child could dream. I came home one afternoon to find Patricia on a ladder, roller in hand, painting over everything, pale pink. Green is bad luck, she said without looking down. Everyone knows that. Tyler stood in the doorway. I waited for him to say something, to acknowledge that this was my nursery, my vision, my work destroyed. He shrugged. She's just excited. Weeks of effort erased in an afternoon. And my husband didn't even blink. The baby shower was next. My sister Rachel planned something small and intimate. Close friends, personal touches, and the kind of celebration that actually felt like me. Patricia insisted on throwing a separate event. Her people, her country club, her guest list. Tyler pressured me to attend both. Don't embarrass me in front of her friends. At Patricia's shower, I opened gifts with cards attached. For baby and grandma. Can't wait to see grandma with her little one. To the best grandmother ever. Not one mentioned my name. I was the incubator, the vessel, the means to an end that had nothing to do with me. The birth plan became the final line in the sand. I'd been clear from the beginning. Tyler in the delivery room, no one else. This was my body, my birth, my moment. Patricia called it selfish. I've done this before. You haven't. Tyler pulled me aside one evening, his voice low and pleading. Just let her in. She'll never forgive me otherwise. I felt something crack inside me. And what about forgiving me? He didn't answer. That silence said everything. His mother's feelings would always matter more than mine. Even in this, even during the most vulnerable moment of my life, through all of it, I kept one thing close. My college friend Danielle was a family law attorney. We'd stayed close over the years. She knew things even Rachel didn't. Late-night calls where I whispered about feeling invisible, about the slow erosion of my sense of self. A few weeks before my due date, she texted me, "If you ever need anything, I'm here, no judgment." I screenshot that message, didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. Quietly, without telling Tyler, I opened my own savings account. Started depositing my paychecks there instead of our joint account. It wasn't much, but it was mine, and I began keeping a journal. Dates, direct quotes, specific incidents, nothing dramatic, just documentation. I told myself it was for processing, but some part of me knew it was evidence, just in case. Rachel visited the week before my due date. She stayed for 4 days, and in that time, she saw everything. She watched Tyler defer to Patricia on the baby's name, on which hospital to use, on which pediatrician to hire. She watched him call his mother before making any decision and watched him repeat her opinions as if they were his own. One night after Tyler had gone to bed, Rachel sat beside me on the couch. Her voice was quiet but steady. "Megan, this isn't a marriage. This is a hostage situation," I wanted to argue. I wanted to defend him. Instead, I started crying. "I keep hoping he'll wake up," I whispered. "And if he doesn't?" I didn't answer. But the question lodged somewhere deep, a splinter I couldn't remove. Before she left, Rachel held my hands and looked me in the eye. If you need to leave, even for one night, I have room. Always. The pressure built as my due date approached. I felt the walls closing in, the air getting thinner, and I knew something had to break. I just didn't know it would happen in the delivery room. My water broke at home on a Thursday morning. The rush of it, the sudden reality that this was happening, that my daughter was coming. Tyler's first call was to his mother. We're heading to the hospital. By the time I was wheeled into a room, Patricia was already there, waiting, like she'd been circling the building for weeks. She followed us in. I said no. Tyler overruled me. She's just worried. The contractions intensified. The monitor beeped faster, and Patricia stood at the foot of my bed, offering commentary like this was a performance she could direct. Breathe differently. You're tensing wrong. You need to relax. I looked at Tyler, begging. Make her leave, please. He looked at his mother, then back at me, and he didn't move. That's when Dr. Chen stepped in. She checked my vitals, her expression shifting as she read the numbers. Then she turned to Tyler, her voice calm, but carrying an edge that left no room for argument. Sir, your wife is in active labor, and her blood pressure is dangerously elevated. You and your mother need to leave now. Patricia's face flushed. I have a right. You have no rights in my delivery room. Dr. Chen didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Out, Tyler hesitated. Patricia grabbed his arm, already protesting as she pulled him toward the door. It closed behind them, and for the first time in hours, I could breathe. The nurse took my hand, held it tight. We've got you. I delivered my daughter surrounded by strangers who put me first. Not my husband, not his mother. Medical professionals who understood that I was the patient, that my well-being mattered, and that I had the right to feel safe in my own body. She was perfect. 7 pounds, 4 ounces. A full head of dark hair. When they placed her on my chest, everything else fell away. The pain, the betrayal, the years of feeling invisible. There was only her. Only us. Tyler came back eventually, sheepish, careful. Mom was upset. I held my daughter close and looked at the man I'd married, really looked at him. And I said the words I'd been swallowing for 5 years. I want a divorce. His face crumbled. You're overreacting. It was one moment. No, Tyler, it was 5 years of moments. And this was the last one. I called Danielle from the hospital room. Her voice was calm and professional, but I could hear the relief underneath. She'd been waiting for this call. The divorce proceedings began before I was even discharged. Tyler begged for counseling. He promised things would change, promised. His mother would step back, and promised he'd finally choose me. But promises from someone who's broken them 100 times don't mean anything. They're just words arranged in a familiar pattern. Patricia called me ungrateful, hysterical, a bad mother for breaking up the family. None of it landed. The spell was broken. Her opinions had lost their power the moment I realized they'd never really been about me at all. I moved into Rachel's guest room with my daughter. It was small, but it was safe. It was mine. The custody arrangement gave me primary. Tyler got weekends, with one condition written into the agreement. Patricia wasn't to be present during his parenting time. Danielle made sure of that. The journal I'd kept became evidence of a pattern. The savings account became my safety net. 6 months later, I signed the lease on my own place. A small rental with a porch just big enough for a rocking chair. Nothing fancy, but every inch of it was mine. I sit there now in the evenings, my daughter asleep in my arms, and I listen to the quiet. It used to scare me, silence like this. I used to fill it with worry, with second guessing, with the endless loop of wondering if I was too sensitive, too demanding, or too much. Now the silence feels different. Earned. Like the space that opens up when you finally stop contorting yourself to fit somewhere you were never meant to be. I spent 5 years trying to find my place in someone else's family, trying to earn approval that was never going to come, trying to shrink myself small enough to fit beside a man who'd already given his heart to someone else. Turns out I didn't need to find my place. I needed to build it. If someone keeps choosing everyone but you, it's not your job to wait for them to change. It's not your job to love them harder, to prove yourself more, or to earn what should have been given freely. it's your job to stop volunteering for last place. Click hype to help this story reach others who need it. I stood in Victoria's living room with 20 pairs of eyes on me, my sister's voice slicing through the air like broken glass. I'm removing you from my will. You tried to poison Mom against me, and I have proof. The room went silent. Someone's wine glass clinked against a table. My throat tightened. I'd never sent those texts she was waving around on her phone. Never said a single cruel word about her to our mother, but here she was, holding up screenshots like evidence at a trial. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but Victoria's smile stopped me cold. Triumphant, certain, deadly. My name is Melanie. I'm 34 years old. I work as a freelance graphic designer, the kind of work that pays the bills but doesn't earn you a seat at family dinners where everyone compares salaries. Victoria is my older sister. Growing up, we were inseparable. We shared secrets in the dark, built blanket forts that lasted whole weekends, and protected each other from everything the world threw at us. Then she married Derek, a real estate developer with more money than warmth, and something in her shifted. She stopped calling unless she needed something, started measuring people by their net worth. She looked at my modest apartment like it embarrassed her. Our mother passed away 2 years ago, leaving Victoria as executor of a small family trust. I never cared about the money. I just wanted my sister back. I wasn't living in a mansion or driving luxury cars, but I had something she'd traded away a long time ago. Integrity, a clear conscience. And what Victoria didn't know was that I had documentation of everything, proof of who'd really been manipulating our mother before she died. I'd kept quiet to protect family peace. That was about to change. If you've ever been accused of something you didn't do by someone you loved, hit that subscribe button. Have you felt that gut punch when family turns on you based on lies? Drop a comment and let me know. You're not alone in this community. Let's go. Victoria's accusations centered on text messages she claimed I'd sent to our mother. Vile messages. Messages that supposedly showed me telling Mom that Victoria was stealing from the family trust and planning to dump her in a cheap nursing home, and that she was a terrible daughter who only cared about appearances. Victoria read them aloud to everyone gathered in her living room. Aunts, uncles, cousins, and Derek standing beside her like a silent enforcer. Her voice cracked with manufactured emotion as she recited each line. Derek stepped forward, his expression hard. "We've been nothing but generous to you, Melanie. This is how you repay us?" I tried to speak, tried to explain that I'd never sent those texts, never typed those words, and never even thought them. Victoria cut me off. "Mom showed me these before she died. She was heartbroken. She told me you were jealous of my success." The whispers started immediately. Family members turning their backs, literal and figurative. Aunt Patricia, who'd always favored Victoria's polished life over my messy authenticity, shook her head. "I always knew you resented your sister. This is shameful." My hands shook as I stared at Victoria's phone. The screenshots looked real enough. Text bubbles in green. A phone number Victoria claimed was my old one. But the writing was wrong. Too formal, too calculated. Not how I speak, not how I text. I asked to see the actual phone records from the carrier. Hard evidence. Victoria's face hardened. "I don't need to prove anything to you." Then came the announcement that changed everything. "You're out of the will. You get nothing from Mom's trust. And you're not welcome at family events anymore." The room spun. Not because of the money. Because my own sister was destroying me based on lies, and nobody was questioning her. As I turned to leave, Victoria's stepdaughter, Emma, caught my eye from across the room. 16 years old, pale, terrified. She mouthed 2 words. "I'm sorry." The guilt in her expression was unmistakable. And suddenly I understood. Something was very, very wrong in Victoria's perfect household. 2 weeks later, a lawyer's letter arrived at my apartment. Official letterhead, legal language that boiled down to one thing. I was being formally removed from any inheritance claims. But the letter didn't stop there. It demanded I return a necklace our mother had given me, claiming it was part of the estate. That necklace was Mom's favorite. A simple silver chain with a small opal pendant. She'd pressed it into my hand on her deathbed, her voice barely a whisper. "Keep this close." I'd worn it every day since. Now Victoria wanted it back. I refused. She threatened legal action. The second escalation came quietly, like poison spreading through water. Victoria launched a whisper campaign. She told extended family, Mom's friend circle, and anyone who'd listened that I'd tried to turn our dying mother against everyone who loved her. I got uninvited from my cousin Brooke's wedding. I was supposed to be a bridesmaid. Brooke's text was apologetic but firm. Victoria said you tried to turn your mom against everyone. I can't have that drama at my wedding. Family members blocked me on social media. Mom's best friend, a woman who'd known me since I was 6, stopped answering my calls. I felt the walls closing in. My reputation was destroyed by fabricated screenshots, and a sister who'd chosen to believe the worst about me. The third escalation was public and humiliating. I ran into Victoria at a charity gala. A client had invited me to design their event materials. Good money, good exposure, and a chance to build my portfolio. Victoria was there with Derek, playing the role of generous philanthropist. All smiles and champagne and carefully curated compassion. The moment she saw me, her face twisted. She made a scene, loud enough for everyone to hear. "How dare you show your face here after what you did to our mother?" Derek joined in, his voice carrying across the room. Some people have no shame. She tried to manipulate a dying woman. People stared, whispered, judged. My client pulled me aside later, uncomfortable and apologetic. The next day I got an email. They were postponing our project indefinitely. The humiliation had cost me a major contract. Throughout all of this, I didn't break down publicly. I kept working. Kept detailed records of every false accusation, every canceled opportunity, and every relationship Victoria's lies had poisoned. I thought constantly about Emma's guilty expression. Why did Victoria's stepdaughter look so scared? I started noticing inconsistencies. Why would Mom show Victoria those texts, but never confront me directly? Why did Victoria refuse actual phone records, only screenshots? And why did the texts appear just 2 months before Mom died, after years of us having a warm, loving relationship? I began to suspect the truth. Someone had created those fake texts. The question was who and why. What Victoria didn't know was that I'd been our mother's primary caregiver during her final year. While Victoria visited twice a month for Instagram photo opportunities, I was there daily, cooking meals Mom could actually digest, managing her medications, sitting with her through the bad nights when the pain made sleep impossible. During those long, quiet hours, Mom confided things she'd never told Victoria. She was worried about Victoria's marriage. She'd noticed bruises on Emma's arms, seeing how the girl had gone quiet and withdrawn. Mom suspected Derek was abusive. She wanted to protect Emma through the family trust and create a safety net the girl could use to escape if she needed to. 3 weeks before she died, Mom gave me a sealed envelope. Her hands trembled as she pressed it into mine. "If Victoria ever turns on you, open this. It has everything." I'd kept it sealed out of respect, out of hope that I'd never need it. But after the gala humiliation, after losing work and family and my reputation, I opened it. Inside was a goldmine. Mom's real phone records, journal entries dating back 5 years, and a revised will she'd drafted but never officially filed. The will left the bulk of the estate to me, with a special provision to create a trust for Emma's education. Mom had written in the margins, to help her escape if she needs to. Her journal documented everything: Derek's controlling behavior, Victoria's willful blindness, and on one of the final pages, dated a week before her death, Mom had written something that made my blood run cold. "I never received hateful texts from Melanie. Someone is lying, and I fear I know who. I had everything I needed to expose the truth, but I also needed to make sure Emma would be safe when I did. I reached out to my cousin Nathan. He'd been estranged from the family for years after refusing to join the family's real estate business. Nathan had always seen through Victoria's facade. When I called him, his first words were a warning. Victoria's perfect life is a performance. Derek controls everything. Then he told me something I didn't know. 2 years ago, Emma had called him crying, begging for help. Nathan tried to get her somewhere safe, but Victoria accused him of kidnapping, threatened police involvement. Emma recanted everything under pressure and said she'd made it all up. Nathan had kept his distance ever since to protect himself, but he was willing to help me now. He connected me with a family law attorney who specialized in cases involving financial abuse and coercive control. Meanwhile, Victoria grew bolder. She posted on social media about toxic family members and protecting your peace from manipulators. The post went viral in our small circle. Dozens of comments from people who didn't know the real story, all supporting her, all condemning me. Derek started making comments about buying out my childhood home, which was technically part of the family trust. Removing bad memories, he called it. Victoria told relatives she was considering a restraining order against me for harassment. They thought they'd won. I thought I was broken and isolated and powerless. While they celebrated their victory, I quietly gathered evidence. Phone records proving I didn't send those texts. Mom's journal was authenticated by a handwriting expert. Nathan helped me track down Emma's school counselor, who had documented concerns about the girl's home life going back 18 months. Everything was ready, I just needed the right moment. They thought they'd already won. They had no idea what was coming. Victoria filed a lawsuit to force me to return the necklace and officially accept my removal from the estate. Her lawyer was confident. They had evidence after all, those text screenshots. The mediation was scheduled at a law office downtown. Both sisters, both lawyers, and a mediator in a conference room that smelled like old coffee and fresh anxiety. Derek came too, sitting behind Victoria like a bodyguard. Victoria's lawyer started strong, laid out the screenshots on the table like playing cards. These messages prove Ms. Melanie engaged in elder manipulation and parental alienation. Victoria sat with her arms crossed, smug. Derek smirked. Some people will do anything for money. My lawyer didn't flinch. She calmly presented official phone records from the carrier, hard data, timestamps, call logs. These records show no texts were sent from my client's number to the deceased on the dates in question. The screenshots your client provided are fabrications. Victoria's face went pale. That's impossible. Mom showed them to me. I spoke then, my voice steady and cold. No, Victoria. Someone showed them to you, and you didn't question it because it gave you an excuse to cut me out. My lawyer placed Mom's journal and the unsigned revised will on the table. The mediator reviewed them carefully, read Mom's entries documenting her concerns about Derek. Her desire to protect Emma. Her final entry, dated 1 week before her death, made Victoria's hands shake. I told Victoria I wanted to change my will to protect Emma. She became hysterical. I fear I made a mistake trusting her. Victoria started to cry. Real tears this time, not performed ones. This doesn't prove anything about those texts. I leaned forward. You're right, but I know who sent them. It was Derek, wasn't it? Then I played my final card. Emma had contacted me last week through Nathan, admitted everything. Derek had created the fake texts on a burner phone to isolate Victoria from me. He wanted control of the entire family estate, with no interference from anyone who might question him. Emma had provided a sworn statement to the mediator. Derek stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. This is ridiculous. That girl is unstable. Victoria turned to look at him. I watched realization dawn across her face like a slow sunrise. You told me Mom showed you those texts. Derek's voice was sharp. She did. The girl is lying, Victoria's voice broke. Mom never showed me texts. You did. You said she'd sent them to you. The mediation ended with Derek storming out. Victoria sat in stunned silence, her perfect world crumbling around her. The mediator recommended she withdraw her lawsuit, suggested family counseling. Her lawyer quietly advised settlement before any of this became public record. 2 weeks later, Victoria called me. The first time we'd spoken without anger in 2 years. Her voice was small and fragile. I filed for divorce. Emma is staying with me. I need to apologize. I didn't forgive her immediately. The wounds were too deep, too fresh. You chose to believe lies because they were convenient. That hurt more than any money. She didn't argue, didn't make excuses. She agreed to honor our mother's true wishes, creating Emma's education trust, splitting the estate fairly. I got Mom's necklace back. But more valuable than that, I got the truth. I didn't fight for money or revenge. I fought because my mother deserved to have her real voice heard. And sometimes, the only way to protect the people you love is to stop protecting their lies. Have you ever been falsely accused by someone who should have trusted you? That betrayal cuts deep. If your family chose to believe lies about you instead of hearing your truth, share your story in the comments. Subscribe to join others who've had to fight for their truth. We see you here. Click hype to help this story reach others who need it. Your story has power. If you felt a connection to mine, please subscribe and share your journey in the comments. Every hype you give this video helps empower someone else. Thank you for being here and for listening.